Greetings, my denizens of the deep. It is your host, Poseidon TCG, back here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. It's been how many months? But I am back, and I am here with a game plan. Yes, we are continuing the Yu-Gi-Oh game plan, but we are switching it up somewhat. Since I can't reasonably do a weekly schedule anymore due to everything kind of falling apart around me, I decided that we're going to switch it up and do this maybe twice a month, probably once a month to be honest. But in any case, we're going to come back at it. We're going to have fun with it. And the old Yu-Gi-Oh game plans are still going to be there, so if you want to watch those videos, feel free to do so. They're still applicable to the channel, so they'll still be up. But that's neither here nor there. The way that we're going to come back, and as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be coming back playing the Red Eyes archetype. Now, the Red Eyes archetype is a jumble of mess that is boiled down to two playstyles. 4 different ways of doing those, but it still boils down to 2. It boils down to the control game and then the FTK game. Both decks are terrible. They're bad. If the one that has more viability are the control decks in comparison to the FTK decks. However, the FTK decks are a lot fun to play, so it is what it is. And we are going to go over them very briefly and kind of explain to you which one I'm going to be playing and telling you why. So we're going to go over the FTKs because those are less competitively viable, but they are a lot fun to pull off, especially if you can draw well. Because one of the biggest issues with the FTKs is that they rely on your opponent not interacting with you. Big fucking shocker. Also, they do rely on you having the best hand that you can, or at least having a playable hand. Now, the 2 FTK variants that Red Eyes has is thanks to 2 monsters considerably. Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, and then, this card genuinely gives me an aneurysm, Meteor Burst Black Dragon. I will have the cards up because I'm pretty sure I said the name wrong. The first one requires you to basically set up an entire board and give your opponent a synchro that constantly triggers and FTK them. The other one requires you to draw an unsearchable card. Neither of these variants are good, but they're at least fun. Very, very brief overview. Now, switching on over to the control decks, there are specifically 2 variants. There's the Slash Dragon Red Eyes control variants, and then the Dragoon control variants. The Slash Dragon control variants are better for those who want to keep it more casually. Maybe it can be competitive if they get the right support cards, but currently as they stand, there ain't it, Chief. While the Red Eyes Dragoon one is just strictly the best build out of the 3, or out of the 4 to be honest. But it is going to be the most expensive because not only are you going to be playing Red Eyes Dragoon, you're also going to be playing a lot of hand traps and a lot of value trap cards. And you're not really going to have a lot of fun unless that's more your jam. But for me, that's not that fun, and it's not going to be as fun to watch as well because I am taking that into consideration. So with this in mind, I decided to go with the Red Eyes FTK side of things, and I decided to go with the one that requires me to actually draw what I need to draw. So we're going to be going with the Fusion FTK instead of using the XYZ. And with that in mind, let's switch on over to the deck profile. Greetings, my denizens of the deep. Here we are on Dueling Book, specifically because the cards have not arrived in the mail yet. So we are playing a some would argue larger package of monsters. I would argue the right amount because it is specifically 13, which is just the exact amount that we need to deck thin, send off certain cards, and to draw. And the ones that we chose is we play 3 OG Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Malefic Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Gemini, aka the Flare Metal Dragon, 3 Labyrinth Dragon, and 3 Toon Dragon. Now, we play specifically 10 Red Eyes monsters because A, they are cards that we can banish for our draw cards, there are cards that we can search, and there are cards that we can send. And the reasons why we play 3 Labyrinth Dragon is just because in the early builds, I was playing cards that took advantage of the fact that it was a 0 attack dragon tuner, I found out that it wasn't as good, and it didn't end up mattering that fact. So honestly, this can be replaced with any level 6 dragon dark that you want. I specifically chose Labyrinth because it also is a tuner. So if you do want to play that draw card, you can. But speaking of the draw cards, we do play a bunch. We play 3 tune tables of content because deck thinning 3 is great, especially when we need to draw an unsearchable card that we will get to soon enough. We play 3 Allure of Darkness because all our monsters are dark. We play 1 Sacred Swords of the 7 Stars. The reasons why we're only playing 1 instead of playing 2 is just because I found out when I played this card at 2, it ended up just not doing enough in my hand, and there were situations where I drew into it and not being able to actually resolve it, but it was still a hell of a draw card because it says draw 2. That's why we only play the 1. Then we play 2 cards of the Red Stone. This is the Red Eyes version of Trade-In, and it lets us foolish if we already have our playmakers. Definitely the last card that you want to play out of your draw hand. Like if you have this plus another draw card, this is the card that you want to do last, if that makes sense due to sequencing, because it does deck thin you for 3 and lets you draw 2. Then we play 2 Perform Pal Popper Up because your life points don't matter. You're trying to FTK your opponent. It literally does not matter. 1 Into the Void because playing 39 cards is a whole hell of a lot better than actually playing 40. We play 2 Magical Mallet because it lets us shuffle in any card in our hands. So if we draw a bunch of draw cards that we can't use, or if we draw a bunch of vanillas that we can't use, this just lets us get a free mulligan. The reasons why we only play 2 instead of 3 is just because at 3, I found us going Magical Mallet, drawing into another Magical Mallet, and not being able to truly extend off of that, because it would basically shuffle back in 1 and it doesn't do anything. And that's exactly why we're only playing. And I found out this plus swords of these Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars allows us to kind of fix that situation and not let us do that. But we do play some searchable cards. We play 3 Red Eyes Inside, which lets us foolish and add a Red Eyes spell, which we're only playing 1 searchable Red Eyes spells, and that is Red Eyes Fusion. You know this card, you hate this card, or you love this card while Verde Anaconda was still in the format. So there you go. This will allow us to get us to the win con, and our win con is Infernal Fire Blast. This is not a searchable card. It says target a Red Eyes monster in your monster zone, inflict damage equal to that original attack. Cannot attack. The fact that it cannot attack this turn doesn't matter. We play 3. Why? Because we want to draw into 3. We want to draw into it. We play 3 so we can draw into 2 of them. Or if we don't draw into 2 of them and we only draw 1 into them, Serious Spell lets us copy the Infernal Fire Blast, which basically means we're playing 2 copies of it already. This is our 4th, 5th, 6th copy of Infernal Fire Blast. Or, since this is not a once per turn, our 4th, 6th copy of other draw cards. It really depends on the situation and what you need to do. And since we are drawing a bunch, and since we always draw it, we're playing 1 Called by the Grave, so our opponent can't disrupt us, and 1 Mystic Mine, because if we are seriously dead in the water, and we've gone through a majority of our deck, we play the 1 Mystic Mine to literally have 1 monster, 1 Mystic Mine, force our opponent to either pass the turn and let us continue, or play into it. Or if they already have the out, they already have the out. And for our last important card of the deck, the whole point of this deck being viable is this card feels like the name feels like I genuinely have dyslexia. Meteor Black Comet Dragon. This is our win condition of the deck because when it is fusion summoned, we get to send a Red Eyes monster from our hand or deck to the graveyard and inflict damage equal to half of that monster's original attack. So this will do 12. Thanks to its 3500 attack, the Infernal Fire Blast will do that. And then if we draw a second one or a series spell, it will allow us to win our opponent from games. The rest of this is irrelevant. Honestly, the only reason why I'm playing 15 cards in the extra is more for the sake of if you want to play Plot of Prosperities and you've figured out a tech that I didn't realize to inflict more damage to your opponent, there you go. Honestly, for me, I just play 15 cards because it is a genuine bait. It's just bait. Or if our opponent plays something that deals with our extra, we might as well not get blown completely out. It is what it is, and it do what it do. But that's the deck profile. I have a very simple thing. You're either going full in or you're bust. There is no in between. So yeah, and I honestly think this is going to be the most entertaining for you guys at home and for me to play. Well, it's going to definitely be frustrating for sure, but that is neither here nor there. That is it for this deck profile and starter of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Plan. I have been your host, Poseidon TCG, wanting to wish you guys the best of luck in all your endeavors, and say it with me because I say this at the end of every single one of my videos, is to be sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you do know when I upload, and to take it easy.